This is Jean Paul. I'm Roy's cousins. We're going through The Man in the Mirror. We're on chapter 3, and this one's probably going to sting a little bit.
It stung me, that's for sure. This one is called Biblical Christian or Cultural Christian.
What is a cultural Christian?
Oh, man. The book's taking us through this process, right? What race are we running? Rat race or God's race? And then, if we've decided that we want to run God's race, chapter 2 talked about what's our worldview, Christian worldview, secular worldview. Now we're going even deeper.
So now you've decided you want the Christian worldview. So now it's, are you a cultural Christian, one that just, accepts the culture, or are you actually a biblical Christian, one that dives in and is like, this is who I am supposed to be?
Right. And this is where we see that, he really brings some zingers in terms of, are you really into biblical values? Or did you just put some paint on that fence? Is it just on the outside?
I think some of the stuff that he talks about marriage was where it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah. That's a big one. We've had many discussions about, how do we even pick somebody to marry, right? That shows up for a lot of people, right? Are we cruising bars looking for somebody to marry, or are we, have we gone through some other process? And I think he was talking about in marriage itself, it's, the results that you're getting. Is your marriage displaying biblical values versus...
Well, I can't remember exactly which chapter it was that he talks about this, but at one point he says, the vast majority of actual work that he does with Christian men, it turns out is in marriage, and he, when he's bold enough to say it, he'll say something along the lines of, I probably know less than 10 men that have a fantastic marriage. And then he'll find out, like, he's right. Like, there are very, very, very few really rock solid marriages out there. Why?
Yeah, it's I just keep coming back to that, doing it my way or God's way,
right.
Doing the world's way or God's way. He literally created us, designed us, holds us together with his word.
Tells us how to do this
right?
life. You want to understand money? It's there. You want to understand marriage? It's there. You want to
Well, it comes right back to the original sin, right? Has God really said? And it's like, I want to do this my way. And that's one thing that this chapter had me doing, was just going, oh man, how often have I given lip service to wanting to do things God's way? But in my heart, I'm going, I really want to do it this way.
But what's powerful about when I read it is it gets me excited to actually want to be a biblical Christian. He's not pounding us going, hey, you've messed up. You're not getting it right. Your marriage sucks. It's like, wow, there are amazing benefits to actually doing this well.
That is one thing I appreciate about Patrick Morley's mentorship. And that's really kind of what I'm taking from the whole book is it's like being mentored by a guy who's been doing this for decades and has seen a measure of success, at least in aligning himself with God's way of doing things. I kind of want to just jump into the questions.
Go for it.
Because these are some really good ones. So focus questions. Number 1, think of a Christian couple who is having marriage problems. In what ways do you think their conformity to cultural values has contributed to their struggle? Which I do got to just stop and say, how often do we as couples evaluate an interaction with another couple? And sometimes we can kind of put a pulse on what we think led to that.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually a good exercise that maybe a lot of us have done. Dr. Francis Schaeffer, so this is question number 2. Dr. Francis Schaeffer says that modern society has 2 impoverished values: personal peace and affluence. Do you agree with Dr. Schaeffer? Why or why not?
Don't try and tackle the question without reading the book.
There's a lot of good stuff in there. That was one thing that really struck me, because you can take those values and look at the different sections of your life and go, ooh, which one guided my actual decision? Number 3, in what ways have you pursued the values of personal peace and affluence? Number 4, are you more financially successful than your parents? Is the quality of your personal life more successful than your parents? Why or why not? Even the questions are zinging me. Number 5, how would you define cultural Christianity? Number 6, after reading this chapter, would you call yourself a biblical Christian or a cultural Christian? Why? Man. Number 7, if you are a cultural Christian, how do you think you became that way? What do you think are the factors that contributed to your worldview? Number 8, if you are a biblical Christian, what advice would you give to a cultural Christian that might help him get on the right track? And where's the red dye in your life? Number 9, what do you need to do to get it out? You'll have to read the book for that one.
So, if you are struggling to find time to read, grab the thing on audiobook. That's how I read a lot of books. I don't actually have time to sit and read, except the Bible every evening. But yeah.
It's good stuff, guys. And it's helping us. So we hope that's helping you. And just want to re-extend this invitation. Feel free to reach out. Man, I mean, a lot of this stuff is often better processed out loud with somebody else.
Yeah. If you don't have a mentor, find a mentor. If you know me and Jean-Paul, get in touch with us. Find somebody. Have a good week.